All right, so good day, everybody. So this one is the second self-paced learning in oral comm. So last week, I was able to give to you the self-paced learning for speech contexts. This time, we are learning speech styles. And I believe you can now see my screen, so let us begin. So for speech styles, here are the things that you have to know of in relation to what did you learn from last week. But before anything else, let us have just so you know of the week wherein we are going to correct some of the commonly mispronounced words. And what are they? We have the first one. You may try to pronounce this on your own because this one is self-paced. So you control your time. So you can pronounce this on your own. And let us check it. Okay, so it's pronounced as, the stress is on the first syllable. It's vittles. Please repeat after me. Vittles. All right. So it means supplies of food or provisions. In other words, this word is a noun. All right. So please repeat after me. Vittles. All right. Next word we have is this. You may try pronouncing this on your own. What do you think? So it's pronounced as conch. Please repeat after me. Conch. So it means any of various large spiral shelled marine gastropod mollusks. Okay, so before, when I did not know yet how to pronounce this word, I would pronounce this as conch. Okay, so it was a big mistake because it's pronounced differently. Conch. All right, so you have a sample picture there of what a conch is. And the third one is this one. Please read on your own, pronounce on your own. You have your time in the world. You may pause this if you don't want to know yet the correct pronunciation. But anyway, here it is. It's pronounced as, the stress is on the first syllable, solder. Please repeat after me. Solder. Okay. So it has two meanings because it depends as to how do you use this word in a sentence. So first meaning is a metal or metallic alloy used when melted to join metallic surface, especially an alloy of lead and tin, so used. And the second meaning of solder is to unite or to make form in union, as you can see on the second photo. In other words, solder has or can be a noun, which is a metal or metallic alloy, and it can also be a verb, which means to unite. Okay, so you may try to avoid using unite as a word. You may also use solder. Okay, next, let us have the goals that we have for today. So first is to distinguish the speech styles. We can know what are they because there are some cases wherein we talk to a lot of people and then we came to know that, oh, okay, this one is this kind of speech style. This one is this kind of speech style. All right. So speech context is different from speech style. Okay. So, after that, you are going to identify social situations in which each style is appropriate to use. So, these are the two goals that we have for today. So, let us first know where did we learn five communicative styles of speech, or he called this as clocks. So, it was formulated by Martin Hughes in the year 1962. So, he's the reason why we're learning the speech styles today. So we only have to know five of them. We have the frozen, we have the formal, consultative, casual, and intimate. All right? You might be confused because there are some similarities between speech contexts and speech styles. But do not be confused because speech contexts are dependent as to the number of people talking, okay, in a room or in an event, while speech styles, they are determined if what kind of relationship do you have with someone, okay? Especially when we discuss later casual, intimate, consultative, right? So let us know their differences. So first one is frozen. So from the word frozen, which means that it's freezing. It's like you cannot do anything about it. Okay, so this one is actually used in print media. Take note, print media, rules or declamation. So let's say, for example, we have a newspaper. So we read newspaper, a lot of news there. And so it's there. Okay, once you read it, it's either you as the reader has to accept it or reject it, right? So we cannot do anything about it. We cannot have some feedback regarding the newspaper that we have read. Either we accept it or reject it. Also, when we read some rules or regulations, say, for example, the one that you can see on your student handbook, okay, there, okay, rule number 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. We cannot do some debates regarding it. So we are like obliged to follow it because it's written there on the handbook that we have to do this one, avoid this one, follow this one, okay? And also, when you are listening to declamation, you cannot stop the declaimer. You can say, oh, stop it. I don't agree with you. So we are just there as the audience listening, watching her or him doing the declamation. So that is the whole point of Frozen, okay? It discourages feedback or questions for clarifications from the listeners, which is why it is important that words are precise and carefully chosen, of course. Because before that a news is printed for newspaper, it's carefully planned and visualized and verbalized. Okay? The choice of words is there. And before we draft some rules, either in RA or like bills or like student handbook, rules and regulations, okay, stuff like that, it's very well planned. Same thing goes as well for declamation. A lot of revisions have been made for the declamation to be approved. So that's the whole point of Frozen. You don't have any feedback given. You're not allowed to do that. All you have to do is to listen, read, watch, and not do anything about it. Either you agree to it or not. So we have example aside from the things that I've given a while ago. So we have prayer as an example of Frozen as well. So Christian families begin their meals with a prayer, which is an example of a Frozen speech style. Because you cannot stop someone from praying, diba? All you have to do is to wait for him or her to finish praying. It's Frozen. Okay. Next, we have the second speech style, which is formal. So communication using the formal speech is one way. It's like from the sender of the message down to the listener or to the receiver of the message, and that's it. You just transmit the message from the speaker to the listener. So this is a formal type of speech style that does not encourage listeners' participation or interaction among communicators. Same thing with Frozen, but Frozen is more formal than formal speech style. Okay, so public speaking is an example of formal, informative speech. All right. So, Miss, what's the difference between formal and Frozen? Because they're kind of like the same, wherein it's just one way, there's no feedbacking. All right. So take note that Frozen is we have print media, okay? So it can be printed, while formal has to be public speaking. As long as the person is doing the public speaking, then automatic that's formal. But if it's like a prayer, if it's like rules written, it's like declamation written, speech written. Okay, so that's an example of Frozen. Okay, and we have an example of formal here. So it's a woman doing the public speaking in front of the large audience, right? So we have learned so far two speech styles. Let us learn the third one. So it's consultative. This time, it's like making use of the consultative style that involves cooperation but does not necessarily require involvement. In other words, it's like you're just asking questions and your questions are being answered. Okay? So there's feedback that's happening already in consultative. So this style is the standard of the most commonly used in everyday conversations. It's like when you go to the bank and you inquire that you can withdraw, let's say, your millions of money from the bank. Okay, so that's an example of consultative. When you talk to a teacher and ask if it's okay to extend the deadline of position paper in the APP. So that's it. That's an example of consultative. When you go to a doctor and ask for clarification as to why you have to avoid eating these food and stuff like that, so that's an example of consultative. When you go to the principal and ask for permission to drop out, that's an example of consultative. All right, so there is already an exchange of thoughts. And consultative is formal because you don't have any relationship with the one that you are speaking with. So you're just asking him or her questions for clarifications. Okay, so it's very business type. It's like talking to a client and talking to the one in business. All right, so that's it, consultative. So of course, a doctor's appointment is an example of consultative and no need to further expound on this. Okay. So you can interrupt the speaker or doctor for clarifications. That's the whole point of consultative. So I believe everything's clear so far because you can just pause this one or go back to the previous speech style if it's not clear. Okay. And so we continue. So the fourth one is casual. Okay, so this one, you have already a relationship with the ones that you are talking to. It can be like, it can be your best friend or your classmate, circle of friends, or acquaintances. That's it. Okay, so casual speech is characterized by slang meanings or expressions that are easily understood by the communicators without being given too much information. Okay, so like when you talk to your classmates, friends, best friends, that's an example of casual. You can make jokes toward them. Okay. Inside jokes between friends are derived from a casual speech style. It's very easy. You just call him or her Maddie, Mad, sister, brother, okay, and a lot among others. Damo-damo nga mga tawganay. And lastly, we have intimate. So this type of speech used in communication between people in intimate or close relationships. Close kamo. So you share same meaning, generally unknown to the public. It's like talking to someone who knows you very much. Okay, you share some information that others do not have to know. That is intimate. So you just make use of words at a minimum level because more kamo sa nonverbal. So the communicators understand each other even with just a single nonverbal gesture or behavior, such as rising tone of voice. It's like when you were young and then your mother will tell you, "Hoy," or your mother will look at you very fiercely. You would get the notion that your mother is very angry and you have to stop what you're doing. Like that. Grunt, okay? Namurugso, okay. You would understand, okay, that person is already pissed about something. Raised eyebrow. So it's like you know already that this person is like having second thoughts because of the relationship that you have. You get what's the meaning of that nonverbal gesture because again, you are close, you are intimate. So we have here, okay, an example. A mom making a facial expression to her son. So that's an example of intimate because they're just using nonverbal cues. See? So same thing goes as well when you like talk to your girlfriend or boyfriend or blang silent treatment. Okay. So you would know right away that your girlfriend or boyfriend is pissed about something because of the silent treatment that you're having as of the moment. All right. So these are, students, the speech styles, okay, that you have to know of and distinctively define on your own. All right. And with that, that's the end of our discussion. If you have further questions, just give me a DM on Team so that I could answer them. So, for your activity, as the sign of your attendance today, you are going to complete a table wherein you have to define in your own words in just 1 to 2 sentences what are the speech styles, and you are to give an example, only one example for each speech style. So you may just take a look at the assignment posted and fill out the table. So thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have learned a lot for today's self-paced learning. Do not forget that we are going to have our review this coming asynchronous schedule next week. And the review is just a couple of questions being thrown at you, and you're going to determine if that's a speech context or a speech style. All right? So thank you so much, students, and you may enjoy the rest of your day, and bye. See ya.